Hello, internet friends, and welcome to episode number 190 of Final Boss TV, your WoW and game rating show. At least in some way, shape, or form, because I won't be saying that for too much longer. This whole background here is about to change. The whole intro of the show is about to change. All this stuff. It's going to be a step forward, hopefully. But my name's Adam K.A.K. Bay, and I would not be sitting here doing this show today without, of course, the amazing support over on the show's Patreon page. Have to give a big quick shout out here at the beginning of the show to all those that are supporting the show, the stream, and everything in between. Thank you very much to everyone that's over there, my executive and assistant producers, and everyone at the tiers down below. So if you want more of the show, there is more of the show. There are more podcasts. Those are the BTS After Show podcasts. Those are just sort of like the winding down of each and every show for all the class and spec stuff. Non-scripted, just complete nonsense. Those are all over on the show's Patreon page if you want a little more madness and whatever else happens. Usually a lot of the memes are saved for that. It's like, oh, did you talk about that on the show today? Nope. And we put it in that. But today's show is the Restoration Druid. And hopefully we'll talk about Restoration Druid today on the show and not Holy and Discipline Priest the entire time. But joining us again in unfortunate non-cam form is apparently the Professor Hulk of the Restoration Druid community. There's Torty. Hello, sir. Welcome back.
Hello. Just hiding.
Just hiding. Yeah. Are you doing World Quest right now? Are you grinding rep right now?
Oh, hell no.
Are you prepared for 8.2? Are you ready?
Almost. Got a few thousand red left.
Only a few thousand.
Time to gear up my paladin.
We said no paladin talk.
I missed that part.
Yeah. Voulk is back, this time not on the healer-oriented show, but now talking about Restoration Druid. Hello, sir. Welcome. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. Thank you, and it's good to be back.
What time is it right now for you, sir?
It is 8 a.m., which is practically afternoon for me, so it's fine. The sun is even up now, so it's actually really good.
Oh, do you mean that your sleep schedule is flip-flopped, that this is when you usually lay down to go to bed?
It's kind of the other way around. I get up at about 4 a.m., so I had a good run at the show.
Okay. Fair enough. And then bringing the comic relief today, apparently he has big shoes to fill. If he's not funny on the show today, chat, hold him to it, all right? Make sure. There is Konah. Hello, sir.
You can't put me under that pressure, man. There's no way I'm just going off the bat like that. We'll see when I start talking about Disc Priests and Paladins. Maybe then.
Mm-hmm. But you're on lease from the show. You're able to be here, right? You're not getting in trouble for not grinding away right now. Are you okay?
Yeah, I've been given 3 hours, so I can't I can't stay too long. I've got to get back to the grind. AP farm.
Gotta get back to the grind. Yeah, don't tell Scott, all right? Don't tell him.
Yeah, I'm hiding from him.
Mm-hmm. So I wanted to make sure right at the start of the show that I bring back up. So each of these like blocks of 12, there are going to be, one of the blocks has to have 2 druids. And I wanted to talk about Feral Druid already, and we did that a few weeks ago. And in that show, there was some shots that were fired, and I think Torty has to defend his honor first off, just so we get that out of the way. So Torty, do you want to defend yourself real quick?
Defend myself? Oh, I have the thrash bug. Yeah, sure.
Basically, so your druid is bugged, and you can do more cat weaving DPS than any other druid. And you want to explain yourself?
Yeah. Basically, I can use Thresh in bear form, even if I don't have Guardian Affinity. And on the last show, Guilty made an allegation that it does way more DPS than it actually does. There is a feral trait, which I don't remember how it's called, to be honest. is it gushing lacerations? I don't remember. Anyway, it basically makes you do more damage with your combo generating abilities when you have Thresh on them. And it's wild flesh rending, correct? In chat.
Wild thingy, yeah.
Wild flesh rending.
Okay.
And if you have 3 of them and you do Thresh, then your swipes do a lot more damage. Like, I would say 60 to 80% more. And the problem is that you cannot really stand there in cat form and swipe for 30 seconds unless there is some dumb pool or lower level. But on lower levels, everything just dies too fast. So
Sure.
I mean, if you want to go into dungeon as a Rested Druid DPSer, then maybe it's good. But otherwise, I don't think it's very good.
Now, I did have...
It was really good in Legion, though. Like, it added like 3-4% single target DPS easily. Because we had the Chatayant ring that increased your energy, so you could just weave in that stuff. But I don't think it's good now.
So with Torty defending himself, apparently, Konah, you have to defend yourself as well, according to chat. Is this true? I thought this show only invited decent players, so why is Konah on it?
Yeah, I don't know. I guess luck, maybe. We'll see.
I mean, how many world firsts do they have under their belt compared to you? Just saying.
I still have 0.
Same amount.
Yeah, I was there for Jaina Prog, and then we didn't go so well on Una. You know, one of these things.
The same amount. Oh no. Well, I'm gonna go back around then. And for those that don't know who you are, introductions may be in order. So what do you dabble in the World of Warcraft, and how long have you been part of said dabbling? And then, of course, if you have any like intro shout outs or resources that you want to pinpoint out there for people, then you can take that as part of this little opening soapbox for you. So Konah, this is to you first. You don't have to be funny, just, you know, be straightforward with us, all right? Just
yeah, sorry, what do you want me to say? Who I am? I missed that completely.
I thought that was the reaction. I was like, oh, he's playing me.
No, I rated Method as a Rested Druid main. My ults are here and there. I played Mistweaver, which is a massive meme right now, and Holy Paladin.
Oh, no.
But yeah, it's basically all my characters are just going to be trash for next progression. So maybe by some like stroke of luck, we'll end up playing Rested Druid.
Maybe. I mean, what kind of, do you have any resources that you partake in or anything you want to like throw out there as a shout out to who makes the stuff that you look at and go, oh, that's how I play this game? Oh.
So Questionably Epic is like an awesome resource for Rested Druids. I use that a lot. Torty's Icy Veins guide, I use that a lot as well. And I've got a guide on the Method website, but that's yeah. It's pretty much just boss specific stuff where we learn the fights early on in PTR, and then when we do them in Heroic and Mythic Week, where I update that.
Yeah, Questionably Epic. Interesting you bring that up right now. What's Voulk? What's Questionably Epic? What's this website I'm looking at right here?
Yeah, so it's a site that Konah showed me actually. It covers all healers, but specifically a lot of Rested Druid and Mistweaver stuff. There's a really good app on there called QE Live that'll actually take all of your gear and it'll tell you what to wear, and it'll do it. It kind of does it like Raybots does, but with healer spreadsheets. So we're not necessarily simming anything, but we're taking all the math that's already done and we're using it to tell you what to wear. Yeah, thanks for showing me that one, Konah. It's really, really good.
Yeah, anytime my friend Rockus made the website, if you want to PM in on Discord, it'll give you some help.
Remember that one. All right, cheers.
Well, yeah. To go over to Voulk now, sir. You kind of answered this back when you were on before. Shout out to those birds, by the way. But
oh, you can still hear them. I'll mute my mic here and there.
A little bit. But Voulk, you were on. We had a healer episode earlier on in the expansion, but now what kind of dabbling do you do in the World of Warcraft, and how long have you been part of said dabbling? And if you want to replug this website, that's totally fine. Go for it.
So back then it was a bit of a tough time in my life because I mained a Mistweaver monk, Whereas nowadays I'm back on Resto Druid. I still dabble in all of the different healers. I still play a lot of Mistweaver, playing a bit of Holy Paladin now. But yeah, I main Resto Druid. I've mained Resto Druid since BC. I skipped WoD. Good decision there. In terms of resources, yeah, check out Questionably Epic. I think that we've got what you want. Specifically right now, we've got a lot of information on essences, which a lot of people are looking for right now. It's healer agnostic. You can go on there as any spec and you can hopefully find what you want. We're also going to have an essences module in QE Live the day after tomorrow. So it'll just be there for you when the patch goes live. It's going to sort out all of your stuff for you.
It's a lot of information that's coming out, and we're all sort of. There was a few posts DPS wise. They're figuring it out. Okay, it's gonna take a while. Some of these are very complicated to figure out modules to sim and stuff for. I'm sure trying to figure out the same thing for healing is no less of a feat.
It would be okay if they would stop changing them. Then I think we could get it sorted out.
Yeah.
But I mean, they've probably changed them twice since we began the introductions. So we just once it all settles down, we'll work out what's best.
But hopefully, they add a little bit of something and something a little flavor to the specs and classes right now that may be having issues. And I think that's where we can bring up our first dig to the other specs in question here for healing. Is any of one of these going to change the game? Let's not get into specifics right now, but from your preliminary stuff that you guys have written out here on Questionably Epic, Voulk, is anything out there is going like, oh.
So the question is sort of regarding essences and 8.2 stuff. Are any of them big game changers?
Yeah, I mean, don't give the game away. That's a topic we have for later. But is there anything that are coming up that you've seen?
Yes,
so
there
far?
are some. There are some game changes.
Okay. That's what I'm weighing out. And then, Torty, take us out of here. Do you, you're playing Holy Paladin right now, though, so what are you on the show for exactly?
No, I don't. I actually play mostly Resto Druid. This year I played, if we count this year as 11 bosses, I played like 2 bosses as disc.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't that bad. It wasn't as bad as Old Year.
What happened in Old Year?
Oh, I played a lot of disc. It was horrible.
Old Year was just a dark tier for us all, alright?
Yeah.
I could hear the disdain and like pain in his voice all the way across the world. Oh, it's so bad. Is it actually
It was just very broken. It was very broken. Like you would log over on your alt and do like 30% more. It was terrible.
I managed to play Druid all the way through all day because I was GM of my guild and I had 2 disc priests that were raiding with me, but yeah, even then.
On some bosses we played 3 disc priests.
Yeah, like Mithrax. That was actually just disgusting. Yeah.
It's been a weird journey, I think, for that one. And when we finally get around to having the Discipline Priest show on, which may be later on in the expansion, just so like every other healer can talk about them first, and then they can defend themselves like a year from now or something. But the journey that the True Druid has gone since Mists to Warlords to Legion and now to BFA is everyone has a bit of a back and forth. And in this whole post Ian 30-minute stand-up discussion where the last couple of minutes he actually admits that the Blizzard team, the devs, have sort of taken away too much from specs. So Torty, in this little opening bit here, I wanted to know, how has losing any direct healing, like the healing touch, is gone?
I would take enough to Warlords.
Well, yeah, basically from there forward. Like how has losing direct healing spells changed the Restoration Druid specifically? Anything?
Honestly, I think spec got much better. Like everybody else lost. I think Druids got much better compared to what they were previously. Like Flourish, Essence of Garnier, and what Flourish is now were like good additions. And Healing Touch wasn't even a good spell, to be honest.
Well, rank 4 Healing Touch might beg to differ,
okay,
but
we'll leave it for later.
Yeah. But so there's nothing else. Let's see. Is there anything that you would like to, I put in here, donate your bark to have back in the toolkit then? If you don't want Healing Touch back, is there anything that you would like returned?
Nature Swiftness, probably.
Huh. Why is that? Nature Swiftness. What would you use it on?
Like, there's nothing else to use it on.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm curious. Like, it's only one hard cast. Chat brings up Symbiosis. Uh-oh.
I didn't actually like Symbiosis.
No.
I'm gonna get crucified for this, but yeah, I didn't.
I'm the same. I don't think it'd be one I'd bring back. Oh.
Can we bring back like an innovate that's not on the GCD? Does that?
Yeah.
I think that was my only real problem with the change from Legion to BFA. I think the spec got better as well, but the GCD changes, they didn't even really hurt us as a spec. They made it a little bit more annoying to play, not just on Innovate, but on Frenzied Regeneration as well. Like, you can't really use it as well defensively as you could in Legion. So I would donate my bark to get those both back off the GCD.
I'd probably go with the Mushroom Explosion. That was... It
was
a little
fun.
bit
That was
stereotyping
pretty
there, but
fun.
Anything that makes it like a difference between like playing good and just playing Druid in itself is where I sort of want the spec to sort of diverge a bit. But yeah.
Yeah, 'cause that's the extra part that I have here. If you haven't listened to the nearly 30 minutes of Ian Hazzikostas, game director of World of Warcraft, talking to the camera for patch 8.2, and it's always seeming in a way that he's trying to put out this internet fire, but they admitted to over pruning classes and specs over the past 2 expansions and sort of taking away too many of the little extra pieces and parts of things that we've enjoyed over the last couple of years. So those are things you like to see returned. However,
I think his sentiment is right. I just don't think Druid was one of the classes that got hit hard by, or at least for.
We even got Soothe back, which is pretty good actually. It's much better than it used to be, at least. Like,
Yeah, they give us Soothe back.
then was so bad.
They give us Soothe back and made it useful in the same expansion.
They force it in there. Yeah, it's one of the big things for Guardian Druid coming too, is that they can cast a lot of those spells in bear form too, starting on Tuesday, which will be neat. But
in cat form, you mean?
Well, in cat form. Though Barry's got a couple of things they can cast in bear form now too, I thought.
Hey, who sits in bear form? We sit in cat form.
Well, yeah. It's true. But to go back on that then, Torty, how about the flip side? Is there anything you could see removed from the spec that that Resto Druid doesn't really need right now?
Not really. I don't even know what they can remove. No, I don't think so. I mean, if anything, they should add something, to be honest.
Right. Well, that's everyone's take, is that all their specs, as a Shaman player, I think since Warlords, Rusa or Word Up made like a chart of how many spells that the Shaman as a class has lost in 2 expansions. It was like 26 spells, I want to say. And we've gained like 7. Where they all go? So I think that's definitely the thing that people want, is things just brought back that they just used to have. But I guess that brings up the counterpoint then. Is there anything that Resto Druid is too good at? Or any places where Restoration Druid's weakness shines through too much, though? Where do you see yourself in that argumentative point, though? Back to you, Torty, because you seem to have that little chip on your shoulder about where Restoration Druid sits right now.
Well, I think Restorers are definitely too strong in Mythic Plus. Compared to other healers, though, I don't think they should nerf the Restor Druids, though. I think they should buff other healers in M+, because honestly, playing some of the healer stacks on most of affixes is just terrible experience. Like, try doing bursting on a Disc Priest, and it's actually so bad. It's like the worst M+ experience you will ever have in your life. Yeah, so I think that's the thing. Resolutes are too strong at. I don't think we're too weak anywhere in particular.
Mm-hmm.
I think like middle of the pack in raids or something.
I think for raids we're fairly weak on damage output in comparison to other healers. I think they could bring our damage output up a fair amount to make us competitive with other healers.
I think you've got too much tied into Moonfire and Sunfire, and they're too expensive to cast in raid. If they were made cheaper, I think our damage would be fine if they They don't have to necessarily be free, but they could be 500, 1k mana, like a lot of other healer DPS spells.
Yeah, so like where we lose out on like quite a bit of healing by using the mana to like DPS, where we don't gain much DPS from it. But you get shamans, for example, where they can spend mana to DPS, but they get a huge amount of DPS, and then they've still got the cooldowns in between that. And obviously you've got Disc and Holy Pally, which have the best of both worlds: high DPS, high healing.
Yeah, and shamans also, when they use mana, they get high tide, so it's not like they lose everything on DPS.
Yeah.
That's the tough part. You guys bring up damage output, and I wanted to make sure we're clear. It's not damage output in dungeons, right? It's in raids, and that's the comparison
obviously.
Yeah,
if
specifically raids, yeah.
If we can stand still there in DPS, we will do good damage, but that's not something you can do in raids, really. Or at least not during the hard. For example, like, are you going to be cat weaving on Jane in phase 3 when there are 15 stacks on a raid? Probably not.
No.
Like, that's not going to happen. So that's basically all the hard parts of the fights. You actually have to heal there. You don't have much times DPS.
Yeah.
And I've just seen someone mention in chat about cat weaving in raid. We can cat weave and do more DPS in raid, but then we are just arranged in melee. So it doesn't break any mechanics. Like, you have to do all the range mechanics while in melee, or force the melee to do them. So it's almost never worth using most of the time if there's mechanics that are going to affect their DPS.
And even then, it's not amazing DPS. It's not like
Yeah.
you're going to pull 15, 20k single target being in cat 50% of. You're still going to get out DPS'd by a paladin and a disc priest most of the time.
Yeah. It's a weird one. That'll be tough for them to figure out. You both brought up the elemental shaman or restoration shaman, the lava burst discussion. I think that's something that Blizzard oopsied on due to the fact of the double dipping buffing of lava burst for restoration shaman. That was probably not intentional, or maybe it was. I have no idea. Are healers supposed to do 30,000 DPS as a healer? I don't know.
That's
I don't think
only
it's
way to be
intentional.
brought. I think that's the only way they can get into raids now.
Yeah. They seem
They
to
didn't
like
nerf it with
dropped
the
off a lot.
patch. They didn't nerf it with the patch, so they are either somehow still unaware or they're just okay with it.
Tough one. Konah, we're kind of like wheeling into the healer hierarchy discussion now. In every episode, we have to sort of talk about this and bounce it around. And from your side of things, you had a back and forth on the last couple of Race to World Firsts, and if you were in or out, or what healer you were on, and how the healing team within Method was sort of bouncing around, what kind of roster they were using. So where do you slot sort of each of the 6 healers? And I want to go to you to this on first, because we do have a graphical representation of healers that Voulk will present, but your argument first, please.
Yeah, outright, I'd put Holy Priest and Mistweaver as irrelevant for the next raid. I don't see anywhere where they're going to be useful. There's like a rare case where you might take a monk for something very specific, but no, I don't think you take one. And then you've got like Shaman Druid, are relatively equal in the middle. Shaman obviously give you the DPS, the link, the Yank totem, and Druids have got like their burst is ridiculous, especially with what is it called? The overcharged mana one, Ever Rising Tide trait. When you combine that with like Tree, Innovate, and Flourish, you just do like insane burst healing. And then at the top you've got Pally and Disc, which is just like they're ridiculously overtuned, like overpowered. Like, I don't know how they've not been nerfed from. We've known for like 6 months how strong they are and how strong they're going to be, maybe even longer, and they just refuse to take them down a notch. They can do more healing than any other healer and more DPS than any other healer with strong utility. So them two are just. I don't know. It tilts me that they don't nerf them. But.
Oh wait, they did nerf Discipline Priest.
Yeah,
They put their aura at what? Double? It's like minus 14% or something.
They were like 30% ahead.
Yeah.
And they nerfed them like with 10. Come on, man.
And Glimmer did get nerfed, Konah.
Yeah, it did, but the nerfs they give them still make them stronger than any other healer, which sort of shows how wrong the tuning was, like originally. And then it's just like the DPS that they offer is like fine that they're strong healers and they've got good utility, but when they offer DPS on top of that, which is like for me raiding or method raiding, when we're looking at fights, we see what healers can do the most DPS for it, because say a Disc Priest, you just knock 2% of the boss's health off from pull. Basically, you know the boss is going to have 2% less health because you've got Disc Priest.
Yeah.
So when you can offer that, where you can just say, okay, we can take a Resto Druid that does the same healing, has less utility, and does very little boss damage. It's like a ridiculously easy choice to make when you've got players that can play each spec.
Now, Voulk, you have some graphical assistance for us and for chat. Did you want to bring that up real quick for us, just to illustrate?
Yeah, I
what...
mean we've got a few different sort of theory crafting tools that we use
Yeah,
when we're
yeah.
comparing different healers. So one of the most famous is of course the paint die. So if I could just share this for a second
Yeah, let me
here.
see.
So let me talk through it a little bit. So
Uh-huh.
Resto Shaman, Holy Priest at the bottom. Resto Shaman has a lot of utility, so there are a number of fights you might bring them on, even if their healing isn't that good, especially on non-stacked fights. Holy Priest we mostly ignore. Mistweaver might be able to do some cool stuff with Way of the Crane next patch, but outside of that, probably not a lot of value. I think Resto Druid has some really good interaction with the new essences, and so that'll probably lock us in a solid third. Hang on, sorry, 1 second. This is too far zoomed in. Okay, so then at the top here we have Holy Paladin and Discipline Priest. I would call them outliers in the current 8.2 patch. So they do the most healing while also bringing a DR cooldown and also doing good damage. So be a Resto Druid, but if you're not going to be a Resto Druid, these are pretty good picks.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah, so that's the mathematical approach to 8.2 from what we know right now.
So now, I was trying to think of a way to sort of like intro the show in, because the mixing pot that we have here on the show today is all over the place, and I was thinking of a way like if you each were an Avenger, Konah sticks out to me straight up. He's Ant-Man, right? He's Paul Rudd, if he's going to bring the comic relief to this. And we had thought that Torty was going to be Professor Hulk, but after that, I don't know. I think Voulk might be Professor Hulk. Maybe you're Hank Pym, actually. Are you the original Ant-Man?
I was thinking if I volunteered to be Thanos, then maybe if I snap my fingers, we could get Glimmer nerfed by 50%. Is that how it works?
Maybe. I think you'll have to let the internet decide that one for you. I'll have to let Dreamgrove figure that out. Oh no.
No, I'm glad that Paladins are having fun with it. Like it's I don't think Paladins.
No.
I'm not. I don't think. All right, I'm not at all.
So there was one extra thing in there, because you guys bring up like the straight up point about the utility they bring, and Blizzard does have a way of feeling out now that the way they're balancing the game is that certain specs are really good in Mythic Plus because it's sort of a different meta they're in, and certain specs and classes are really good in raids. And we can see that obviously with how the all melee Mythic Plus is and how the all ranged raids are. But from healer standpoint, then you brought up Mistweaver sort of in that weird place where you guys are, where you think they are, and then Holy Paladin way at the top. And I put on here in the notes, do you think Mistweaver and Holy Paladins are the only healers that can do the DPS while healing type of healers? I know, Voulk, you have something else you wanted to add to that sort of misunderstanding that the community may be going with the whole DPS healing.
I think I don't think that Mistweaver, at least in 8.1 and 8.15, I don't think they did DPS to heal. Like there was hypothetically a Rising Mist build where your DPS would convert to healing, but it was never very good. And so actually not only do they not DPS to heal right now at least, but it's actually one of their biggest weak points. Like you're stuck in melee, you're not doing much damage, even if you can get 100% uptime on the boss, which you usually can't. And so yeah, I think that Mistweaver is kind of bottom of the barrel when it comes to being able to help DPS and raid. They've got Way of the Crane in 8.2, which could change that entirely, but at least right now, or if they go with a different essence.
I know Dobbs' Twitter handle now is Way of the Crane main, so we'll have to see how that changes.
can't blame them. Like
Yeah.
the only thing that can bring them back into relevance.
We'll have to wait and see. So the thought bubble then, if you could only bring 4 healers to a boss, Torty, what 4 would you bring?
Holy Paladin and 3 Disc Priests. Maybe?
No.
if I'm being honest. Maybe 2 Paladins, 2 Disc Priests. Depends.
Konah, do you agree?
Yeah, 2 paladins, 2 disc priests is where I'd start. I think maybe you can run into issues with melee where you'd swap a paladin out for likely another disc priest, but hopefully a shaman or druid. But the state it's in, you'd probably take another disc priest. But yeah, we'll see what it turns out like. But I think it's just going to be a stomp for those specs.
Are you leaking progression strats, Konah?
No, we don't really get told our comps before, in case anyone does leak like me or like Josh is awful for it. So we don't, they don't tell us anything until day of the raid really. They tell us what characters to prepare, and then after that is, you know, they just say log that character and we'll log in for the raid. But it's, yeah, in my opinion, 2 disc priests and 2 paladins just seems like an amazing comp to bring to a fight. You don't struggle with anything really. Like if there's a melee mechanic, you bring someone else. But yeah, maybe Shaman if Link and APT can hold their own in that fight.
Now, Voulk, everything for you is upside down since you're on the other side of the opposite side of the planet. Do you have a different opinion on what 4 healers you would bring, or?
It depends how upside down am I. Like, are we talking holy priests and monks in our 4-person comp? I would probably go. I'm going to go double disc, 1 holy paladin and 1 resto druid.
Okay.
Because we can't have 0 resto druids across 12 characters. But no, I think resto brings a lot in 8.2. I think that I don't think you ever bring more than 1 necessarily to a high end raid. To be clear, if you're not method, if you're not pushing world top 20, you can bring whatever you like. It's not going to matter that much.
Sure.
I've seen some. I don't think Glimmerden is a particularly complicated spec, but I've seen plenty of Glimmerdens do very little HPS because they don't enjoy it or they've been forced to swap by the guild, and it just never works out.
Okay.
But yeah, even if I was designing a top 20 world team, I'd slide in 1 resto druid. We're very versatile, so
yeah.
I don't think it's a bad choice. I don't think it's a bad choice at all.
Like when you're not progressing like bleeding edge progression, you can take, you can afford to like switch healers out based on who's better, or you know what you think is going to be better for the fight, or who plays something better. It's like talents. Like people play different talents at different like levels of play. It's completely down to the guild, really.
Now, I guess that the counterpoint I had to that before I move us on to what everyone wants to know about the Heart of Azeroth and the major minor essence discussion is the amount of healers you bring to a fight. I know there's like that sweet spot of at least 4 in like a 20-man mythic. Do any of you have any PTR testing that you think that certain encounters may be like 2 or 3 healed for progression, or even up to 5? I know right now it's fairly common to do 5 healers going from like Cabal, and then you go 4 on Unot, even though there was 5 in there at certain points. Is there anything in the new raid looking like you need 5 healers? I don't know who has information on this, so.
Unot was actually 3, at least for the top guilds and most of the lower ones.
Right, okay.
Yeah, I can see 3 being used in a couple of places. Orgoza, the hatchery boss. Yeah, that boss. That one, it could seem like it's a DPS check, and healing seems relatively easy, and it's all predictable. So if you can rotate your burst properly, I think that could be a 3 heal. Lady Ashvane's a weird one. I missed the test on Mythic, but I know that you've got like a damage requirement and a healing requirement at the same time, because basically the longer a phase lasts, you have to soak these big orbs that take damage to the raid. So you have to heal that up, but the sooner you phase, you don't have them as much. So you might drop a healer there, or you could even add a healer. It could go either way.
Okay. Yeah, I think Lady Ashvane is going to be a big one for. You'll work out if you can push before the next set of orbs with your current comp, And if you're a
Yeah.
little behind, maybe you'll add or drop a healer to compensate for.
It's always the weird one going back and forth because not every encounter is going to be the same layout for healers. And I know it always comes to like a kind of a sore spot that is dropping a healer is the way that you go about it. I suppose if you could just swap that healer to a DPS spec, because Balance Druid, or I don't know what the Essence are going to do to Feral Druid, but I'm sure we'll find out. So, Voulk, bring us some mathy stuff. I know I teased it earlier in the show, sort of set that up, but the major and minor essences, the Heart of Azeroth 2.0, the major system swing we're going to get on Tuesday or Wednesday in the EU is pretty massive. There are lots of new combinations therein, of which major, and then the minor, of course, associated with it, and then which extra minor you get with the 55 essence, because we're not going to get the extra one at 65 anytime soon. But are there any
I think
changes?
65 is irrelevant. I
Right.
don't think that anyone will plan around 65 until we're looking at sort of 8.3.
65 is like
They are,
mid-September.
yeah, it's
Oh
a
gosh, really?
crazy grind.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's kind of nice because it'll help guilds that are struggling through the raid in September or starting to get to the end of the raid in September. It'll give
Yeah.
them a boost, an extra option. I think that we are going to have to wait until the patch to be 100% sure what essences we're going to take, because they are still changing them a lot, and a few that we definitely had our eye on and that we're picking as being the strongest got, I wouldn't say gutted, but they got brought down a lot by 30-40% in some cases. And I'm expecting them to do another balance patch after Heroic Week, which is where they usually balance healers and everything.
Yeah.
But at least right now, you're probably looking at Lucid Dreams to begin with, and then Ever Rising Tide is a more advanced option. So Ever Rising Tide, for those who aren't familiar with it, is the one that stops your mana regen for 8 seconds. Every spell you cast gives you an stacking plus healing buff, and then you get an 8 seconds of just the buff afterwards as well. Because it multiplies your healing, it's really damn good if you're in like a Jaina phase 3 situation and you're pushing 60-70k HPS. Like, it's going to be really damn good in scenarios like that. But if you use it poorly, or if you're in a heroic guild or something, or if you have rank 1 of the essence still, you're going to get really bad value because the mana loss adds up really quickly. So I think we'll definitely want to have that one. You want to have it in your toolbox for when you can pull it out in a tough fight. I think Lucid Dreams is a good catch-all. It's not bad in any raid fight. It's good for all levels of players, and it's quite easy to get. So I think those are the two that you're looking to get straight away. When the minor slot opens at 55, which hopefully won't be too long for most of us, you can start looking at options like Well of Existence, which isn't that good in a major slot, but the minor is very, very good. And so we'll have a lot more combinations we can run with there. But at least for the first 2 weeks, we're probably running Lucid Dreams for our 1 slot. And then once we start getting rank 2 and 3 Ever Rising Tide, that'll become an option too. They're trying to position it so that every essence is good for a fight, but I don't think that's going to be the case. I think there's going to be a core set of 4 or 5 that gets used, and the other 5 or 6 just won't see enough use because they're tuned too low, or they just don't really match any raid fight, or you're giving up too much to use them. So Lucid Dreams is the big pick, I think, and start working on your Ever Rising Tide as well. They both have to do with the new Nazjatar zone, so you can kind of do them both at the same time. I think one is just rep, and one you have to level your bodyguards. So they're all world content. Anyone can get them. They should be nice and easy.
It's interesting.
It's actually really weird
Oh.
because a lot of minor essences are so much stronger than their major parts. I don't
Yeah,
know,
that's true. In almost every case, actually,
Yeah.
the minor is stronger than the major. It must be intentional on their part at this point because it's consistent.
Yeah.
Every single minor is better than the major. It's a weird design for me, but that's what they.
You're going to eventually have 3 minors, and then, of course, your 1 major active. So I wonder if that's part of the way that they're being balanced. And you noted about whole the
Maybe they just don't want to take big risks or something. Because if you have too strong of a major, it can interfere with balance a lot. Since a lot of them are actually multiplicative. Well, not a lot of them, some of them at least.
right. You talk about how they're trying to make. I guess I'll make sure I was hearing you correctly. You think they're the balancing point or how they're going to be working on them, making them good for every single encounter. I hope that's not the case because I hope that you want to swap them out for different encounters.
Yeah, sorry, that's what I meant. I think that they wanted every essence to have a fight that it would be good at. Like, I think they
Okay,
wanted
yeah.
us to swap them around like talents where all of them could be viable. And turns out that they did get them very close to talents where some of them are viable, some of them you don't touch, and some of them you always take.
I think the only two you're going to be swapping are Ever Rising Tide and Lucid Dreams. Like, for example, in fights like Conclave or Jaina, you would want Ever Rising Tides. And for fights like, I would say, Opulence, you would probably not want Ever Rising Tide at all. It's just completely useless trade there.
I agree that those are the only two that'll see high level play, but I
Uh,
think there's a tier below that because Ever Rising Tide is multiplicative for the people who are still working through heroic in a few weeks. I think there might be some other viable options for them because I don't think they are going to have quite the throughput yet to make a multiplicative essence like Ever Rising Tide as good as it can be for Mythic Raiders.
I think like the Well of Existence is actually one of the better no-brain ones. Assuming there is actually enough damage.
I think it's going to be very good for early progression. At least I'm fairly sure I'm going to take it. During progression, like early progression, yeah, overhealing just being like redirected is really helpful. It saves
Well,
mana, it
it's
saves
good.
like everything.
It's good in every fight as well. Like I don't think there are going to be any fights where you don't want well in your minor slot. Whereas like Lucid Dreams minor might mathematically be as strong as well, but isn't as good in the same range of situations that the well minor is.
It's going to be a lot to change around because we have to remember too, if you don't know yet, that every part of the base Azurite system as well that is currently in the game is all going to be unlocked all the time now. So when you get new artifact or new Azurite pieces, everything is already unlocked. There's no more of that grind. The grind and acquisition now is obtaining the essences and then ranking them up through those means, where rank 1, 2, and 3 are all based on just you do an activity. There's a grind to it in some regard, sometimes a rep, sometimes battlegrounds, and then that is just where the power comes from. Rank 4, which is more of the same, but that is a pure cosmetic one. Even though they did tease some of those in the 8.2 patch trailer, and if there's like 2 in the trailer I think they show off out of all of them, they were actually really impressed with spell effects because we didn't have them all. They weren't on the PTR. They weren't like data mineable. So those are really, really neat looking. So that'll add that extra little bit of flavor that people are looking for. Maybe that'll help a lot for certain specs. But
I think that's a cool idea. Like, I think the
Yeah.
legendary effects at rank 4 is an awesome idea. It just gives you something to do when you're done with the rest of
yeah. Now I wanted to bring
just
up.
little goals you can shoot for. Aside from the
Yeah.
islands one, like there shouldn't be a legendary essence tied to islands in any way.
Oh no.
Honestly, the worst one is the Honor one. Like, who wants to grind that Honor?
Oh god, yeah, that one too. That one's not ending up in my collection. That's going to be unlearned at the
Yeah.
end of the expansion.
Aw, we'll get it. But
From what I understand, we don't have anything tied to islands that's important for us, right? Like none of the main 5 are tied to islands. are
No,
they?
it's World Vein Resonance that's tied to islands. It probably won't see use. I think we'll outscale the int buff quickly, and you need quite a few people running it for it to be viable. If it's really good for your DPS, then maybe you can put it in a minor slot. But I don't know if
Right.
it's good for your DPS.
I'm looking forward to having different ways to farm them out with, so like my stream community or my guild, because different ones will be way different in how you approach them. But I'm ready to jump in all the different parts of the game and earn them all eventually, right? Only targeted ones for raid before, and then you get all the fun froofy ones later, I guess. But I wanted to bring up one more essence in particular because you didn't mention it at all. I don't really think, at least the same way that when we looked at this a few months ago when the PTR went up. The Life Binder's essence, the 40 seeds of ANR in a raid doesn't seem that impressive. but in a 5-man dungeon when Mythic Plus is already reigned over by Restoration Druid. What's that gonna do? Do you
I think
guys?
it's just tuned low right now.
Oh,
I don't see any good. I mean, maybe shamans use it. Well, that's about it, because they can't actually use any other essence as well.
I think for Mythic Plus, where mana is less of a concern, especially if you're a Resto Druid, since we're very, very efficient in Mythic Plus, I don't see Seeds ever even getting close to Ever Rising Tide, at least in the major.
Okay. Because this one looked ridiculous when we first saw it. I want to make sure if you give it a passing.
It did get nerfed a few times. It doesn't interact with us in any way. Like the hot from the Seeds
Sure.
doesn't interact with our mastery or anything.
Right.
Also, some of them are gonna get unused in the raid setting unless you use it right before some big raid damage.
Right.
I don't see that one being used at all.
There should be, like Voulk said, there should be different situations where you'd want to slot a different combination in and hopefully change out the active, and you're not using the same essences for the entire raid or the entire rest of this tier. So
with the
I
way
think
Resto Druid works, it's just ERT will do more, basically, if you play well.
Yeah, I think
Right.
their intention is for us to swap them around. I don't think that with the current balance that we'll end up doing that. Well, we might swap between a few, but
okay.
I don't think they've quite nailed it if they intended us to use all 11 and swap them in for different situations or healing comps. I don't think they've got it quite right for that. Well, which is fine. Like Ever Rising Tide has a lot of depth to it gameplay wise. Like out of all of the essences, it's probably the one that I'm most looking forward to. Some of them are completely passive. Some of them, like Lucid Dreams, it's strong. It's really strong, but it's so dull. Like you hit the button every 2 minutes, it gives you some mana back over 15 seconds. Like it's not the pinnacle of game design, right? It's just numerically strong. So I hope Ever Rising Tide does stay best.
Okay. Now, with that all being said, and we'll sort of bounce back and forth. This is like this big new major topic here. I do have plans in the future to put together a show more focused on just talking about this a few weeks from now when we learn more about how to get them and how it feels to get them and where they fit differently, right? We have gameplay of them. But for Resto Druids, to pull it back to that one, are there any new discoveries in the way of gearing that may be something you guys are to look at? Are there any different Azurite trait combinations or secondary stat shifts that you may see change with the essences coming in? Or is it still just highest eye level and only take these few Azurite traits? I don't know if any of the new raid ones.
Just equip high level. I think
Is it
since
still?
Nighthold, all I've done is equip high level. But people ask me questions all the time, like, why are your stats like this? Why are your stats like that? I just equip high level. Like the one time I've changed since Nighthold was more mastery for Unat to heal the tanks. Other than that, I've literally equipped high level for everything, all content. I think they're so close together that you're not really making a difference at all. Especially if you're getting like first or something like that, is helpful for progression. But yeah, for traits, I think we're going to be pretty much the same. These guys will know more about that than me, but I think you just run roughly the same.
So the big changes, of course, raid traits are changing out. We don't have Treacherous Covenant anymore. We don't have Bonded Souls anymore. Of the new raid traits, Loyal to the End is insane for us. If you can get a couple of other people in the raid with it, which shouldn't be a problem, gives you a big amount of flat mastery, which is good for us. And if someone with it dies, then you get a 15-second crit haste burst buff. We haven't been able to actually test them, so we don't know if that'll be cheesable with APTs or anything like that. But even if you ignore that and just yeah, I know. But even if you ignore that portion and just take the big flat mastery, it's still really good. Arcane Heart, not quite as much. Maybe at the top end when we're pumping like 80, 90k HPS, it might be good, but otherwise the tuning just isn't there right now. And undulating tides does nothing at all.
The Arcane Heart will be really good for Holy Paladins and Dispriests, though.
Oh, sure, yeah, because they can help fill it with DPS, but at least for Resto.
Can't wait.
I
Finally, they get something.
don't think our Wraths are going to fill it very quick.
I'm trying to look at a lot of the new Azurite traits aren't You said Arcane Heart. Was that the one you just talked about?
Yeah.
What is it? How's this read? Every 1.5 million damage and healing done, you gain Omnipotence, increasing your highest stat by, I guess, 320 at the starting amount for 15 seconds, and you heal for 5% of all arcane damage taken. Right, these are the ones that are raid flavored. So
Well, people are saying you can't take Glimmer and Arcane Heart, so you can forget about it, I guess. Unlucky paladins.
Actually, a lot of the new raid Azurite is pretty bad overall. Like, Loyal to the End is good, Arcane Heart for some specs, but it's really hard to find good combinations of gear that you can use that contain all your traits. Like, there are some raid pieces that make you choose between, I think this is a Mistweaver one, but you've got Gem Hide and Sweep the Leg on the inner tier. You're sort of giving up 400-500 HPS from losing a good in it, and so I think almost every healing spec is going to need to get really lucky with Residuum in one of the first few weeks if they want to build a good competitive gear set. So, good luck.
Yeah.
it'll be interesting to see what combinations, because there'll be a amount of them, Azurite trait combinations that may come out and you're like, oh, it's not very good. But then someone's going to break something. And I know chat was talking about, and you mentioned this again, Loyal to the End. I don't know if we're going to see strategic deaths on fights with a person stacked with 3 of these, or with many people in your raid stacked with these to like some combined burn phases. I wonder where that will actually play out, if it does play out, because that's kind of a clever use of a death mechanic, I suppose.
There could be limitations to it. We just don't
Yeah.
know because they didn't let us test anything this time around. Like we've tested none of the new trinkets because there just hasn't been a vendor. So there's a fair chance that none of it works properly.
That's odd, right? Because I remember, I have not done many PTR testings because I've only been in for like 2 tiers, but from when I've been in before, they've let us test trinkets somewhat, right?
Yeah, this is quite unique. Yeah, every other time they've let us test trinkets. They've just put them on a vendor outside the raid, and you just equip them and play with them. But this time, nothing. Even like the Operation Mechagon stuff, you go into the dungeon and hope you get lucky with a drop if you want to test.
Right. Well, there are some parts of that that's exciting, right? So we'll figure out how that will go. It'll be a bit of a lot to figure out right before the raid comes out, but we do have that period of time where we can at least, the math will be everywhere, I'm sure, and the testing will be everywhere. But whoever gets lucky with stuff, right? Because you can't really target too much. I don't think anyone's going to have enough residuum before the raid comes out. Maybe buy like 1 piece of gear before it comes out. Maybe gamble on 1 or 2. And if you get the new pieces, well, wait and see. And obviously all the new raid traits are only coming from the raid pieces, which you'll get a normal and heroic clears, but
there are a few Operation Mechagon specific traits as well
right.
that are, I mean, they're just stat procs, different kinds of stat procs. One only works when you use the weird trinket with the 3 slots, 3 sockets. So, but yeah, they're in the game.
Yeah, Clockwork Heart and the personal
That's right.
computer interface. Yeah, they both seem really straightforward. They both do.
Yeah, there's not much to them. It's a stat proc. It's a good stat proc. Most of them are good.
So stat-wise, though, are you going to be making your Mechagon punch card trinket? And what 2 stats are you going to primarily focus on then?
I won't be using it.
What?
So that's easy.
Yeah. Okay. Is it not that good for you then?
Well, I actually think it's a very good trinket for what they intend it to be. It's a starter trinket, right? It's one you can get easily. It's a fun trinket. You can socket it with different things, but it doesn't compete with the recently buffed, which actually I'll talk about, the recently buffed BOD trinkets, and it doesn't compete with the really good trinkets from Palace either. But it's a good trinket. It doesn't really scale with eye level, so it'll cap out pretty quickly. I think a lot of players just won't use it at all.
Right.
Yeah. Until there is M plus Mechagon, I don't think this trinket will get used at all.
Well, is the punch card going to be stronger with Mythic plus eye level, or?
I would assume so. They're just drops from bosses, most of them at least.
Yeah, the cards do, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I only care
And then-
about cards though, not about the
Yeah.
trinket.
Yeah, it should be interesting with Mythic Plus. On the topic of gearing, though,
Mhm.
so they're buffing all flat healing trinkets, and that includes trinkets already in the game. So if you've got a Ward of Envelopment or a Mirror of Entwined Fate, they're all doing like 40 to 50% more on the PTR. So if you got them in your bank somewhere, or if you've deleted them and need to restore them, they're probably going to be really damn good when the patch is new.
Now,
Mirror got buffed as well. I didn't know that.
well, so did they? I wanted to. This is like a totally off, not in my notes, because that's a funny point to bring up, because this is a thing for DPS that we're now all like, what do we do with trinket? Blizzard changed something in how trinkets scale. And instead of there being this convoluted like verse and crit interactions, and then I guess there's something with your primary stats or your whole DPS
Oh,
calculator
yeah.
thing. Now it's just that
They,
trinkets are all scaling off of just it's going to be crit, verse, and haste, not mastery.
No, so
Across the
they
board.
just wrote that note horribly. So all trinkets prior to the patch
Ah.
already scale. They already scale with crit verse and haste in some cases. Like
Mhm.
absorbs only scale with verse.
Yeah.
Flat heals scale with crit and verse. And there was never any primary stat scaling to it. I don't know who wrote their note, but I don't think they particularly understood it. The only change is that they basically have a giant scaling table
Mhm.
in the game files, and they're changing the particular table they use for trinkets to a different one that will make them scale harder.
Okay.
Like the all it needed to say was your flat healing trinkets now scale harder with item level. That's the only thing they changed.
Basically, there is just a bigger multiplayer per level.
Right.
I don't even know what that note meant. Like, it made no sense, like 0 sense at all.
That's why I wanted to bring it up, to make sure that we help that information get distilled.
Yeah, it was
Because-
very confusing for a
Yeah.
very simple note. Like they scale better with item level. That's all you need to know, and that's so simple to put into a sentence. I don't know how they ended up with what they.
They just probably hire someone like me that's just like, that'll work. Just type it how it is and just say, okay, there we go. They'll understand that for sure.
Yeah.
But-
They did. And that's the one thing that's interesting too about Druid, outside of potentially if there's like an on-use trinket that has something a little bit extra that you need to use for a certain phase, then yeah, you'll just use highest high level trinkets. But from a DPS point, and we'll get into those as the DPS shows come up during 8.2, there are some trinkets now that the math crafters are like, oh, because before we were like, forget about it. But now, because on certain specs that have different scaling amounts, or like rogues and havoc demon hunters with kind of ridiculous amounts of secondary stat scaling, certain trinkets that you wouldn't consider now are considerable. But that's for the math people to figure out, and then for us to read and go from there.
Suddenly, that music box is looking really good.
Oh, just the proc that heals randomly, yeah.
Yeah,
I checked. It's the only one that isn't looking good.
Oh,
nice. I was so hyped. I have 420 in my priest.
Actually, Voodoo Totem as well. Voodoo Totem isn't looking very good after the change, but all the other flat healing trinkets.
are we flaming the music box now? Yeah, unfortunate. So then, to distill that down, then a question that came up in chat, and it's in the notes as well. So, what major minor combination are you suggesting that your fellow restoration druids or healers in general? Because I asked, it might be more across the board which healers go for what. What are you gonna go for first, Voulk? What do you suggest people go for?
I mean, all right. So you get Crucible of Flame from the very first quest. So
Right.
you'll have that first. You'll not use it for very long. You'll pick up rank 1 of ERT and rank 1 of Lucid Dreams on pretty much your first couple of days. I really wouldn't recommend using rank 1 of Ever Rising Tide, like with the mana cost, maybe a Mythic Plus, but at least if you're finishing up Jaina or something like that, then
Okay.
with a 3% scaling buff and no haste portion, you're just not, most of the time, unless you're really blasting, you're going to do negative healing out of it. Like the mana cost isn't going to outweigh the healing you do. And so I would recommend Lucid Dreams for the first couple of weeks.
Okay.
The use on Ever Rising Tide, it's 8 seconds now, right? So it's like 3.6k mana each use, which is pretty much a lot of mana.
The
Should
current-
be
3.6,
6.4k.
Wait, why is it 6.4? Did 4k per 5 seconds, so 800 per second?
Yeah, which one are we looking at?
Yeah,
I'm looking at
6.4.
the.
Yes.
Yeah, 6.4. Okay, yeah, it's
6.4,
actually an insane
yeah.
mana cost.
And 6.4k isn't too bad when you're talking rank 3 and you get 10% haste and 4% stacking buff. But when you're looking at rank 1, like the mana cost is still just as punishing, but you're no longer getting a big upside from it. Yeah, it's so expensive. You'll collect it, but you probably won't use rank 1 Ever Rising Tide at the beginning. This is
Okay.
for Resto Druid as well. Like other healers will differ a little bit. Like as a Mistweaver, you probably want to pick up Conflict and Strife so you can get Way of the Crane. Just if it's good, then rank 1 can carry you a long way since it doesn't scale well with rank.
Because I'm pulling up the essences here on Wowhead right now, and you guys are talking about how long it lasts. Currently, it looks like Ever Rising Tide lasts 10 seconds.
Yeah,
It goes
Wowhead
big,
is a few. Yeah, Wowhead's a few patches behind on
It's a build
just
behind.
a couple of the item
It
tooltips.
is 8 seconds then.
It is it's 8 seconds on both portions. You get 8 seconds to stack it up, and then you get like the
Okay.
last spell you cast will give you an 8-second buff.
Yeah, that's actually a huge nerf.
Yeah,
Okay.
but before that, like that was just gonna be our essence. I don't think you'd ever swap it out. Now it's
Yeah.
you have to be a little bit more particular.
Okay. Now, to end this little segment here, Torty, I'm going back to you on this one first. And I want each of you to throw your sort of hat in the ring or throw your prediction out there. So the next healer show I'm going to have might be like almost 2 months away due to like the new tier coming out and people's schedules changing and blah, 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 blah. But where do you think the healer meta will be once we're deeper into the Rise of Azshara patch cycle? Do you think anything's going to change from where it is now, or do you think your whole Holy Paladin, Discipline Priest, is going to be the is-all be-all?
Yeah, I think like your core is Holy Paladin plus Disc Priest. If you don't have those two, you're probably trolling. And after that, you can either bring more of them,
All right.
or if you're feeling really adventurous, you can use Resto Druids and Monks, and maybe bring a Shaman to APT something.
Maybe bring a Shaman to APT something. Is that
Yeah,
all they
and
are
if
to you?
Yeah, I think that's it. Like they get nothing from essences. I don't even know what they're gonna use with essences. Like they're just terrible. Like everybody gains something, and shamans are discussing what damage essence they would use to kill people.
Really? I didn't know that. Uh-oh.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Okay.
I think that's gonna be it. Like, and if you're a holy priest, you should press N and respec.
All right. That's Torty's prediction. Voulk, what about you? Are you sticking to that, or do you think something's gonna shift up crazy?
No, I don't think the meta is going to change. The only chance that it would be if they do tuning at the end of Heroic Week.
Uh-huh.
But I don't think that it's likely. And so I think we will end up where we are right now, where Holy Paladin's really good, Disc Priest is really good, and Resto Druid's a pretty solid third.
Okay.
Which is not at all a bad place to be at all. Like that's ideal. Third in Raid, first in Mythic Plus. I'll take that.
All right, Konah, are you gonna predict anything ridiculous, or are you sticking with that?
I'd say I'm roughly the same. I think Druid could come on strong. They've got a few fights in the tier that they seem to do well on, but without the damage input, then it's hard to call like where they would be. But I think come late on in the tier with guilds that are progressing it later, they'll want a Druid as the core.
Mm-hmm.
But I still think Disc and Pally, without any major changes, that are going to be the standout too.
Yeah, the thing about damage, you need to know that if you're progressing later, like way later than Method, then sometimes your damage isn't even needed. Like, for example, I didn't even DPS on phase 1 Una because we'd have to stop DPS. Like, I would just hold back to, like, so that our DPSs don't complain.
Right.
So they stop DPS.
Yeah. Exactly. But unlike Voulk, I would prefer Druid to be absolutely trash in Mythic Plus, just so it was like top in raid for once. Like I would put it in the bin for Mythic Plus, just completely unusable, just for it to be good in raids. But yeah, that's just me.
So
you
that's
kind of go disc priest there, right? Where you're like you're number 1 or number 2 in raid and just not nowhere near as competitive for Mythic Plus. I don't know if I'd prefer that. I don't mind things the way.
we'll have to wait and
Yeah.
see. What
I
if
guess.
one of the major essences and major minor combinations all of a sudden Holy Priest's like the best healer all over the place? You never know.
They need some essence that scales really well with mastery. Otherwise, I don't see that happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've literally just got their utility and damage going for them. But even then, it's negligible. You can just replace it with something else.
All right, really serious question then, before we take a little break so you guys can walk around a little bit, and if you need to, step away while I plug all the things. This is a serious note, all right, chat. This is basically a question for you and every other Resto Druid out there. And if they answer this incorrectly, again, this is where you roast them in Dreamgrove. Do you heal in Treant form or caster form?
Caster form. So actually, my
yeah.
guild thinks I heal in cat form, which is not wrong, to be honest.
I've heard that before, yeah. Especially in Mythic Plus, right? You just don't heal your team at all.
Yeah. Well, the most efficient healing spell is a rebirth. Think about it. 100% of their HP goes down, and they rest with 100%. That's like 200% in one global.
Yeah, I res in cast form because I've got Druid tier 3, so I've got to show that off.
You do.
I
I saw
really
your
like how it
armory.
looks.
Yeah.
I don't think I've used Treant form since BC. It used to cut your movement speed in BC, right? Like it give you a bit of a healing increase, but you move 10% slower, and now we're the most mobile here.
Hated Trent. Probably my most hated ability Druids ever had.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we all heal in caster form.
Okay. I do like the note that Torty says I heal in cat form, and then of course I look over at chat. Smack that life bloom and go cat. Accurate? Accurate. It sounds like. You gotta use the old, what are they, like the old pizza finger Treant form. You gotta glyph it, go for it. And you can role play as Darnassus. I don't like that. I don't like that. Yeah, do you role playing as Teldrassil? So none of you heal in Treant form.
I was so happy when it got removed in Revolution.
Oh, as the actual form, you mean?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, purely cosmetic now, unless you take Tree of Life, and then you're Broccoli Man.
Tree of Life is good. Tree of Life I like.
Yeah.
Like I'd happily heal full time in that, but Treant, no.
And I've got one thing with Tree of Life. I don't know if this is just me, but does Zandalori have a smaller tree? Because when I pop into tree, my form is smaller than my regular form.
I think they're fixing that in 8.2 actually. Yeah, I think you'll be full size again, Connor.
There's actually
what?
Yeah, because on Jaina Mythic, right, I was playing just I think it was Taran, a High Mountain Taran, and my tree form was huge on the intermission. So if I popped it, I'd struggle to see like the orbs coming towards me to freeze me. So when I rerolled Zandalorian, it's all of a sudden smaller. It's the nicest thing in the world because you're no longer baited by mechanics. You're just a regular character.
There's actually another bug with Zandalari. Zandalari Moonkin, or at least there was, like the first week we were on Jaina, and I cast Regia for our Moonkin. There was this huge animation for half of my screen. Like, what the hell is going on? Just stopped reviewing him because it like interfered with seeing anything.
That's funny. So yeah, fixed on Tuesday with everything else. Alrighty. We have some FAQ canned questions and some Q&A from you guys in chat if you would like to prepare those questions for the second half of the show. But real quick, again, I wanted to thank everyone for tuning in today. I know there's been a bit of a delay on getting these shows out there, but with the way everything is in the IRL and I set a slate for how the shows are going to roll out, I can't just keep flip-flopping them. I already flip-flopped them enough, but it depends on the guests, and we have that working out. So next Sunday should be the Shadow Priest show. I was trying to get that a little earlier, closer to when Crucible of Storms was more of the hot topic, because if you just stack Shadow Priest and win on that fight. But we'll talk about Shadow Priest next Tuesday after 8.2, which is after their bit of a nerf they are receiving, unfortunately, or well-to-do. We'll talk about that next week. And the Sunday after that, I'm trying to put together sort of a Wowhead special show where we will talk about a lot of things we figured out in 8.2 after it's been out for 2 weeks. We'll talk about the essences more in depth. We'll have some like healer, tank, and DPS discussions on like what combinations people are figuring out are working really well and different Azurite stuff, just sort of like a primer in 8.2. That's on the horizon there. But this show right here is not only made possible by your support out there on the internet, but also by my sponsors over at Corsair and Elgato. But first off, I have to make sure if you guys are looking for any bits and bobs and pieces and parts for an upcoming build, I am doing a huge rebuild and update for the dual PC setup and a new room that in my house I'm putting together. And so much of that is being made possible by all the different stuff at Corsair. I've got a new case, new keyboard, a new mouse. I'm wearing a new headset, and I have a secondary headset I'll be using soon. I've got custom cooling coming in. If you are a real big cooling nerd, if you haven't seen the new liquid cooling blocks that Corsair has put together, you should go check that out. The link is, of course, down below to everything Corsair, and any purchases through the link down there support what I do here. And then, of course, Elgato. I don't know if you know all the different parts that Elgato has, because a lot of what Elgato makes is very streamer forward. However, there are a whole lot of extra accessories that you may not know about that can help complete those builds. Even though I'm actually really jealous, I want the new mounted green screen. For me, that's just a me thing. But that is for a later date. But those links are down below. And of course, that supports what I do here. Even if you're going to checking stuff out, you haven't looked at what they have going on, then you can click those links down below right here on Twitch or on YouTube. They're linked down below in the description box, of course. If you're listening to this on audio only, so Google Play Music, iTunes, or Stitcher Radio, then you'll have to go to a website. You can go there and you can click the buttons over there because it's audio only. And I don't even know how to control that stuff. That just kind of happens. Additionally, there was one more thing I have to talk about. There's this little thing called Discord. You may have heard about it. With the patch coming out for 8.2, I thought I wanted to throw a little something together. So this will be starting very soon. I'm doing a big old giveaway with the collector's editions of Battle for Azeroth, 2 of them. And then Discord, I reached out to them, we talked about it. So they've got some hoodies coming in and 10 Discord Nitro keys. There'll be a post in my Discord that you'll be able to react to be able to enter into this. And when I post this image, I can't go backwards because my brain is broken. That image right there. When I post that on social media, you'll be able to join my Discord. Links down below right now, too. Either on YouTube or right here on Twitch. If you want to be taking part of that. And then I'll sort all that stuff out in my Discord channel. So yeah, it's 2 unopened collector's editions of Battle for Azeroth, and then 2 Discord hoodies and 10 Discord Nitro keys provided by Discord. 2? Yeah, 2 pips will win the CE. Yep. Indeed. Yep. They're unopened. I don't know how I landed on so many extra, because I already had a collector's edition myself, but everything in it is still in the box, and it's all sealed up and everything. And I thought, might as well give them away with 8.2. People might be returning to the game because it's been a weird place. But if you want like the book and the novel and all that kind of stuff that comes with the collector's edition, giving them away in my Discord. 8.2 question mark? Oh. But that's all for you guys. For just helping me do what I can do and keep this show rolling. And if you missed any part of the show, of course, I archive it on YouTube. And then the audio-only stuff is linked either on my website, or you can just go to Google Play Music, iTunes, or Stitcher and just type in FinalBossTV. And you'll be able to subscribe to the podcast there. The Patreon BTS podcast as well, for those that are supporting the show over there. That's actually an RSS feed plugin you can hook into your podcasting app as well, and you can get those fed to that as well.
Auto shutdown initiated.
Auto shutdown initiated. That's my headset telling me I need to unmute. And Voulk, you good? We back?
Auto
I am
shutdown
back.
cancelled.
You are. Okie doke. I didn't know that was even going to be. I'm surprised I even heard that. Usually that is muted. That's funny. I have a smart headset. Shh, quiet you. Your quality content. Bay shutting down. No, not at all. The AI is taking over. Absolutely. So if you have questions now, is the time. You can toss those questions out in chat, and we will weave those into the next bit of show. Well, yeah, I mean, vet them first, Torty. All right, I'm not gonna.
There is no way there are any troll questions in Twitch.
I'm not gonna ask every single one. Well, yeah, unless you want to answer all of them, then by all means. But the first one I wanted to bring up here while we get started, while chat catches up a little bit, is which Legion artifact skin is your go-to, Konah?
I don't actually know which one. I'd get my transport map and I'll tell you. I think it's like the challenge mode one I used for a while.
Mm-hmm.
But it's I don't actually know. Oh no, it's just the standard one actually. I think I went for just the standard druid one. I really like the like druidy feel of it, so I just picked that with my tier 3 for like the entirety of Legion. I think when I had it.
The big stick.
Yeah,
Basically.
I just used the scythe now from August, the red one, with my tier 3, which doesn't really match, but.
Oh, interesting about the whole Argus scythe. What's this guy over? Torty, what are you using over there?
That's actually a mistake. I should have used the red one. I don't know. I'm using
No,
blue
you got
one.
the blue one, yeah.
The image he sent me has the blue Argus scythe, and I'm like, that's not a druid stick.
I changed it when I swapped to Zandalari. I think
Ah.
I forgot to change it back.
Okay. Do you have a Legion artifact appearance then for Gahanir that you like then, Torty? What do you go to?
I don't remember where they are, to be honest. From like, I remember how they look, but I don't remember specifics on how you get them. I only remember the Mage Tower one, the old one, the absolutely terrible.
Oh. Voulk, do you have one that's a special place in your heart then?
I liked the challenge mode one. I used the white version of it, like I think that's it. The one with the owl on the end of a stick. Is that the challenge mode one? That's the one that I
think so. I'm gonna pull up right now, so you can look at all of them right here. The owl on a stick. Is that?
I think that's its official name.
Let me look.
Doesn't
Artifact.
even look like a rest or stuff. It looks like a Munkin stuff. But the rest
Yeah, it kind of does a little bit, but like, even though challenge mode got easy near the end, like at least at first it meant something. It might have only taken us a couple of hours, but like, I don't know. I like the Mage Tower challenges. I thought they were really, really.
I don't know if chat had any ones they wanted to add as well. Yeah, Mage Tower one coming in. Let me see. It's actually hard to find this older stuff. There's so much information to dig through. Appearances. I keep getting the cat ones, which is funny. I'm trying to look for the Restoration Druid ones, and I keep landing on the cat ones because you guys are mostly in cat form all the time anyway. But let me double check here. What do you have for me, chat? Oh, why are you all wrong about Treant form? Ooh. Uh-oh.
So Treant form actually costs you a GCD, and I used to have a Resto Druid in my old raid team that every time he popped out of it, he would spend that GCD to go back into Treant form. We could be in the middle of damage, and you'd just see this tree running across the every single time he'd spend the GCD on Treant form. He did not last long.
Well, but
Jesus Christ.
you would do it before combat.
You do, but then if you change to cat or bear form
That's true.
halfway through combat, then you need to change back into it.
You're not wrong.
And he did, like, consistently.
So you just keep seeing him go in and out of tree form. You're just like, oh, the globals.
People dying, his Swift Mend off cooldown, and he'd pop into Treant form instead of saving them.
Oh, no. That's too bad. Oh, gosh. I'm not asking anyone. I think any question that is directed at Konah, he has to vet first.
Yeah, there's a few questionable ones. Now, there's a question about prosperity in Mythic Plus and when you should use it.
Oh.
Yeah, so it's a question that gets asked a lot on Dream Growth, which the mods have to deal with all the time. But basically, the argument is for players that use it, the specific bosses like first boss in King's Rest or the captains in Freehold, where you can see a reason to use it, and honestly, I have no problem with people using it or even recommending people to use it there, because it's like what we said about the class balance in raids. For a lot of people, you have like worse players you could take or whatever, or worse classes. So say if you wanted to take a druid over a paladin, you could at a later stage. And when people aren't playing their classes properly or as well as should be, then these alternative talents work for some people and don't work for others. So I think you can take prosperity in Mythic Plus and have success with it. But it might not be the optimal, but for a lot of specific people, it could be optimal for them, just to outplay their misplays, if you will.
It's funny. I think I brought this up before in the base healing show. You're going over different healer stuff that I think I remember talking about how Cenarian Ward never saw much use, and now all of a sudden it is just the go-to in that tier.
Oh, it was
like it
the
was-
go-to talent entire Legion.
It still was.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like in Mythic Plus, you would take Abundance a lot in Legion because you'd get 100% regrowth crit, which you don't get out of it now since they reworked the talent. But Cenarian Ward was always the raid choice.
Yeah, Abundance got retuned to be more raid-oriented. It's like mana reduction as well now. It's not too good, but like it's okay.
I mean,
There was actually
ultimately
one-
it's one tier of talents. Like Prosperity is pretty damn bad, but it's
Oh.
hard because people attribute a lot of their success or failures to
I'm gonna
one
get based
talent
into
choice.
this. Okay, so most of the time when people start arguing it, they say like Prosperity and Soul of the Forest and like 3 growth tendons is better than Snare. And like, come on, man, you can't compare 2 talents and 3 traits to 1 talent. That's not how it works. I mean, you can take Prosperity, I don't mind. Actually, we had a discussion with JB. I think it was a long time ago, to be honest, and he was actually defending it in some cases, and I could see the cases. There were, I think one of the cases was start of Motherload, the first small mobs that throw random wrenches. And what was the other one? I think it was start of the Shrine, like some mobs do random cast some people. I don't remember their names. I'm really bad with names. Yeah, I can see it being used. I personally don't like it.
I think a lot of people put it in the wrong situations as well. Like there are a lot of situations that are just really, really bad for Prosperity, and people try and recommend them for those as well.
The worst Prosperity is the first boss in King's Rest, actually. Like, that's just terrible case for Prosperity.
But the thing is, some people do prefer it there because they don't use the other talents properly, so it works out as a better talent for them because they are misplaying the game.
You can't even use Abundance bad.
Yeah, people do that for sure. Like they just sit there DPSing or not having enough rejuves out, or there's all sorts of reasons why people think Prosperity is better for them, or it has worked for them.
I think you put yourself in a better position, especially as a Discord, by trying to coach people the better way to play rather than going, okay, you're not good enough to use the right talent, so here, use this worst one because it'll be because you play better. I think you end up much more productive if you try and help them. Like, why are they using Cenarian Ward poorly? Can we help them to use it better? Are they not planning their cooldowns out for the fight? And that's very possible that they are. And so I guess I'd rather take that approach and we teach them rather than going, okay, use this bad talent because it's easier.
Yeah, I agree that you can teach people to do it, but at the same time, other people just refuse to learn, and they'll just argue for like an hour. Prosperity is better, all out.
I mean,
for them, it might be. But
you help the people that are open to being helped, right? You're always going to have some people that are too stubborn or not interested in learning, and fine. We're not here for those people. We're here to help the people who are here looking for.
There was actually one good question in chat. We close this Prosperity shit. I actually don't want to discuss it more.
No, go for it.
One base kit change to make Druid move into Paladin Shaman tier for a longer period of time, multiple tiers. That's actually a good one. I'm not sure.
Sorry, what was the question?
What one base change to our kit you would make to move us to tier 1 for a long period of time? Like, not for this tier.
Yeah, I honestly think it'd have to be something to do with absorbs or damage reduction. Like a massive utility spell would be required, because that's like, even if we lack in damage, if we bring something that's like fight changing to a comp, you'd get in regardless. What that would be, this doesn't already exist. I don't know.
I think just reducing mana cost on Sunfire and Moonfire will do a lot of good, to be honest. Like, on a lot of fights, you don't even need that much damage reduction, or the fight is too spread to use most of the damage reduction effects properly.
A wrath effect onto our hots could work well. As like it encourages you to spam wrath more. You get it works similar to how atonement works, but you're gaining DPS and you're still not losing out on healing as much as you would.
I think though all you're doing there is saying, okay, Resto Druid isn't top tier, so let's give it stuff that the top tiers already have. So I think everything just gets really close together if you go, okay, let's give Resto Druid a DR and an atonement like spell. Like we've already got Disc Priests and even Paladins behave similarly. And so I would
Yeah.
rather they think of
But that's
a
what
different way to push
that's
us
what sets them
up
apart as high tier, because they can put absorbs on people, they can reduce damage taken. Like Devour is just insane, and then you get Rapture or like the shields that they give, and then the burst from Disc. I don't know.
Obviously
they're a class
they're
apart
very
because of these
good.
reasons. But
I agree, but like Resto Druid just becomes a variant of Disc Priest if you give us absorbs and you give us DR. Like at that point, there's nothing separating us, and you literally just take whichever does the most numbers.
It's a tough one. I think ever since I've been doing healer shows since probably Warlords, it's always been that, and it was worse before when Holy Paladin also had a bunch of absorbs as well, because so much of your healing is healing over time, right? It's all hot based. And that's one of the reasons why Resto Druid is so strong in Mythic Plus, is because you can put up a ton of hots and then just go cat form. And then your heals keep going for 12, 15, 18 more seconds when you're just kind of like doing your own thing, adding to the damage. And it's funny how that doesn't seem to work the same. I know before we were starting the show up, if you weren't here, chat, when we were doing the mic tests, there was a bit of shade being thrown at Discipline Priests in Mythic Plus and how they just can't deal with some things, because if they can't DPS, they can't do anything. They just Shadowmen spam, I guess. So that's funny how that differentiating point from healers comes in, whereas one is so much stronger in this form of content and one is so much stronger in this one, right? Mythic Plus versus Raids, 5-man versus essentially 20-man. But I don't think Blizzard wants that to change, though. We'll see how the essences and everything shake everything up.
yeah, I think Blizzard. Go on, Voulk.
They poked through an attempt to nerf our mastery at the beginning of BOD that looked like an attempt to counter us in Mythic Plus a bit, and then it disappeared from their PTR notes, and we just never heard of it again, which was very good because it was absolutely the wrong way to go. But
yeah,
it at least showed to me that they kind of don't like it, even if they haven't taken an attempt to fix it since.
Right.
Yeah, I think they're very happy with how the balance is, I'd say, because they understand that like druids are strong in Mythic Plus and they're not the strongest in raids. So the way that I think they look at balancing things is if they're strong somewhere else, they don't have to be as competitive elsewhere. So because we're strong in Mythic Plus, they just won't put us up to this level in raids where we can compete with other classes, which is fair enough. Say Disc being strong in raids and absolutely awful in Mythic Plus. You know, you've got to have some sort of balance somewhere where a class is strong. But yeah, it's just unfortunate that Mythic Plus, from my perspective, Mythic Plus, I don't want us to be strong in raids. I do. Or Mythic Plus, I don't care either way. Rather,
right.
Does speak to Resto's strength though, that like you do play Resto in raid. Like you played Resto for all of Una. You might very well play Resto for a lot of the new raid bosses. So that's at a world first. That's at a world top 2 level, and so clearly, clearly Druid is at least can hold their own in raid as well, even at that top level.
Yeah, I agree. There was specific niches on Unite where Druid worked.
Oh, I agree, and I think
Yeah.
Disc Priest and Holy Paladin will fill a larger range of fights, but
Yeah.
at least we still have some decent reasons, and we're a decent all-rounder too. So I don't think there's a single fight where Resto Druid is awful either. Like there definitely is
No,
for some other specs.
It's very well balanced right now, and in an easy pick to bring into your raid. The majority of guilds won't be able to put out 2 discs and 2 paladins, and in almost all situations, Druid's probably your third, excluding where Shaman utility will just trump what Druid can do.
I think Mythic Plus reached the same level arenas were in TBC. Like at some point, you can't just balance both at the same time.
Yeah, I agree. It's not really possible.
Yeah. A lot of players are only interested in one and not the other. Clearly, like you can see a lot of top and plus players actually almost don't raid or raid at some super casual level, like killing 1-3 mythic bosses for like early easy loot and pugs.
How
And
about?
then-
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, go.
What about when you are doing your war campaign or world questing for doing stuff solo? Do you guys go feral or balance or what sub spec of druid do you go to?
I stay rested. So we have a
What?
PvP talent called Master Shapeshifter that increases our damage by 25% in
Okay.
cat form. And it's actually insane. Like I realized that I would do more damage if I swapped to Boomkin or Feral, but if I stay resto, then I'm immortal, so I can leave warp mode on, and you can 1v1 almost anyone as resto with Master Shapeshifter. So
Okay.
you're safe. Your DPS is still competitive, and I don't have to bother changing specs and adding all my keybinds back to my bar, so it's convenient.
So you just stay resto.
I stay resto. Master Shapeshifter is so good. It might even be more than 25% now, but you put out some damage. Like mobs will still die in a few seconds, and you can pull as many as you like Guardian.
Konah, what do you do?
I usually spec into Boomkin, but it depends if I'm doing something else. So like I play RuneScape a lot at the minute. So if I need to do a world quest and I'm playing RuneScape, I'll just queue up in the group find and probably AFK it, or yeah. If I'm try hard, and I'll go Boomkin, but a lot of the time I AFK world quests or just do like a little bit here and there.
Terrible.
Yeah, it's the flex guide. When he was doing 3 characters, he taught us all. You queue up for a group, or you make the group yourself. Auto invite on, and people will just cycle through, and you can just sit there and let people do their world quests.
Fair enough. Torty, what do you do?
I did them as Moonkin.
Yeah.
Only Moonkin. Yeah, I didn't even try Resto. I don't have war mode activated, to be honest.
You don't have
So,
war mode. Then how are you're missing out on all that AP?
I don't really care. I mean, I can take the 10% hit. Just dying is more annoying.
Oh, wait.
I'm not Night Elf anymore. I can be running from Graveyard.
Did you say dying? You don't want to. Horde is so outnumbering in war mode. How are you ever threatened?
Oh, sometimes there is like 20 alliance, just entire raid going at you. I'm not really enjoying, to be honest, and there's barely anything you get.
I completely forgot about war mode when we had to do the grind for BOD. That was awful, actually.
Konah,
I complained about it every single day.
did you like not have it on, or you had it on and it was a
No, I
problem?
had war mode on because obviously
Oh.
you get the AP again, and we needed it because we was farming a lot before
Yeah.
BOD. Was it Una? We was farming a lot for one of them, and you would just get killed and killed and killed. Like at some points, it's like, is it worth it? But it costs you a little bit extra time to get the extra AP, so it is worth it because the AP doesn't exist elsewhere.
Oh, there was
yeah.
There was a comment in chat that was to go on the back of how you guys were breaking down Restoration Druids hierarchies across the game right now. So it's strong in Mythic Plus, sure, meh in raids, but then broken AF in PvP. Is that correct? None of you guys know.
I don't PvP at all.
Yeah.
I hear we're pretty good in PvP, but that's
I hear we're pretty good.
Yeah, I think we're good.
Last time I PvP'd was Wrathful Lich, like seriously PvP'd.
Yeah.
This expansion, I only did it for like, first 2 weeks to get weekly boxes.
Fair enough.
Yeah. I mean, just by kit design, I think we're strong in PvP. So you can bear form. Obviously, you got your cat form. You got your dash, your wild growth, and then a lot of personals, and then your hots can just take on people while you CC'd.
Mhm.
So by design, we're strong in PvP, but
Yeah.
it's how it goes.
PvP also has different auras. Like they can actually tune PvP and not touch anything in PvE. They can just give you 10% more healing in PvP. I mean, why does it have to affect PvE at all? I don't know. And I wish it was the same case for M+, to be honest. Like, some specs really needed some healer specs.
Going back through chat looking for questions, there was that suggestion came through. You're talking about different utility or like a raid cooldown that Resto could have. Even though Trank with the new mastery interaction is definitely a step forward compared to where it used to be, even though you still can't move with it. Oh, now it's becoming a copy pasta. My idea. The Wall of Treants. I don't know if that's something is that something from the Dream Grove though? Is that a Dream Grove thing?
I don't know, but it sounds... Let's just put it that way, not smart. I can't use the worse words in Dream Grove anymore.
Oh.
I'm reformed, not toxic.
You're reformed? That used to be a... Bring that copy pasta to Dream Grove now, though. That's pretty good. I like it. Yep. You got there. That was a pretty innocent one, though. I'm trying to vet certain things. That one didn't seem to be really that bad. I have on here, too...
You can't make things that are so overpowered and over the top, to be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, giving us a bit more damage in raids without using that much mana is a lot more reasonable than giving us a raid-wide damage reduction or...
Oh gosh, there's the obligatory follow-up question. Or are any of you going to be playing OG vanilla in Classic? Konah, are you going to play Classic?
I know there's a few like ballpark ideas kicking around in Method right now of playing Classic, and I'm not sure what I'd play. I thought Warrior for a while because it's very low maintenance and you're just broken for like 3 tiers, is it? But I think I'd probably play Resto Druid just to play it. I enjoy it, and I think it'd still be good to play there. But I don't know if I'll play Classic. I'll either play on NA with some friends and streamers, or I'd go with Method on EU if something does happen. But nothing's decided yet.
What about you, Voulk?
Probably not. I played the beta for a little bit, and it was not. I understand. Yeah, for not for me, obviously. I think if people can have some fun with it, that's fantastic. I think it'll draw a lot of people back to World of Warcraft in general. But at least it wasn't.
And then Torty, if you could be any type of grass Pokemon, which would you be?
I have never watched Pokemon, so I have no idea.
No? Okay.
No.
Dang. No Pokemon. Unfortunate. Are you going to play Classic, though?
I will probably try it. I'm not sure I will stick to it. Like, I've played Classic when it was current, and I was a lot younger, obviously. I'm not sure I can handle the grind, to be honest with you. Like, just leveling is...
Yeah, the grind is huge. It took me like 3 hours to get to like level 12 or something. But for me, I can just like stream it or just play in the day because I don't work at the minute, so it's not too bad. I'd only be playing WoW anyway, or like some other game, so it could work out all right. I think if you get past the early levels and you just get ahead of the pack sort of thing, you can enjoy it.
Well, if you're a druid, early levels is like 25 until you start doing any damage in Cat. That's a long time.
Yep, I played a vanilla. That was my original character. Was a vanilla druid. Played Resto all the way up till Nax. Then I went OG Boomkin because my guild wanted the insect swarm debuff for the 2% chance to miss the tanks because they needed that to help them survive.
That's one of the worst ideas I've ever heard.
That's vanilla for you. It's 15 years ago, 13-ish years ago. The game's changed.
Yeah. Imagine relying on 2% mischance for
Well,
tanks to survive better.
Yeah. So do any of you
Who even
actually
came up with it?
do any of you actually play any other MMOs right now, or maybe other games like big RPGs that have healing roles? Do you gravitate towards those in other games, or I mean, Konah straight up said if he played Classic, he wouldn't even play Druid. He'd play Warrior came up first. So I'm not the first person to ask, but I don't know if anyone else dabbles in other MMOs
So
out there.
I play other MMOs and I play other stuff with support roles like MOBAs, but I don't support in anything but WoW. Like I love healing in WoW. I would never play anything else in WoW. But if I'm playing a non-WoW game, if I'm playing Final Fantasy or League of Legends or HOTS or anything like that, I just support is my least favorite role. I don't know why it clicked so hard for me in WoW, but I think the WoW healing style is just my favorite across all the games by far. Like I love healing in WoW, and I never get the same thing from other games.
Yeah, I'm the same as you. I don't think other games do it the same as WoW when you're healing. There's just
WoW
something
does it
different.
very well. Yeah,
Yeah,
WoW does healing
it's really
very
enjoyable.
well.
Like I play League, I just play jungle, and then RuneScape is what I play. I tried healing in the old Final Fantasy, I think FF11, and I enjoyed that a little bit. I've not played the new one yet, which a lot of people I think are playing right now. There's a new content update coming, so that could be one
14,
to try out. Yeah, I've heard that's quite a good game to play right now for raiding.
You talk about the grind being real. The grind is also pretty real in that game up to a certain point, so you're not gonna go away from it. But Torty, you didn't have any Pokemon reference, so, but do you play other games than World of Warcraft? Then in that regard, do you have the same similar don't heal on other things?
I played Civilization 5 and Heroes 3, just turn-based strategies, basically. Well, I don't play them much, just a little bit.
But you're not healing in those games then, so that's
No.
goes against my question. But yeah,
No,
gotcha.
just go into war.
Then how about, do you have any, where's my other question? Oh, most annoying part of being a healer. What is your hot take on that then? This is go back around to Torty on that.
DPS players. Oh, God. I got worked up straight. Just DPS players calling heal me. It's like we can see our frames. We know that you need healing, and they just scream heal me, heal me. It's like, I know you need healing. I can see it. You don't need to shout it. And it's like, oh, that's the big tilt right there.
I mean, the name of this episode is make like a tree and heal me, Konah. So just
yeah, one heal.
We had one DPS warrior back in TOS, and he would ask, like, can I have a rejuve? I would tell him, you have a rejuve. And he says, can I have two?
Can I have two?
Come on, man.
Are you expecting a germination? Yeah, can I have two of those?
We read it with germination then.
Yeah. Can I have two? Well, there's Konah's. That's Konah's answer. And Torty, do you agree? You kind of chimed in with that one. Do you have something else that comes to mind as your most annoying part of being a healer?
When they say, I have this debuff. Dude, I know that you have this debuff. Shut up and do your role. Come on.
Oh no. Now I'm scared to have what's Voulk's answer?
I don't think that non-healers understand healing very well, and so I think you get a lot of situations, and it happens in pugs a lot, where they'll bring too many healers to begin with, and then one healer has enough sense to actually spend some time DPSing because there's nothing to heal. And if they wipe, even if they wipe to mechanics, that lowest healer will always get kicked because the raid leader just doesn't get healing at all. And you see that even in proper guilds. Like, I think there's a big push to blame the healer sometimes when the healer can't do anything about it.
Hmm.
I actually think at the mid-tier guilds, like rank maybe 2 to 400, they don't blame healers enough. Like, from what I've seen, like, sometimes people link logs and their healers are just, I don't even know what they're doing. Like, how did you even get to Jaina with those healers?
And it's just the reverse in our guild. We're doing like mecha talk. We have 2 DPS standing the blast cone, so we're healing them or we use externals on them. Then we have someone drop a bomb in the raid, and we ended up wiping. It's like, well, what did the healers do wrong there? It's like we did everything. We popped all our cooldowns. We used externals on everyone that needed it, but you just couldn't play mechanics right, and we wiped because of it. But yeah, healer's fault.
You're
Healer's
not
fault.
trying to,
Yeah, fine.
don't throw deep shades under the bus, Konah.
No, Fabo doesn't do it too much. Like, when he's healing, he's actually he calls out everything for us, so it's really helpful.
When he's healing, that's a weird
Oh,
statement.
yeah, when he's healing, he's like, I've iron bulked you. He makes sure everyone knows that he's what he's done. I'm tranking right now. I put an iron bulk on you.
Play by play on Fabo. I like that. Oh.
No, he's fun when he's healing. I like Fabo.
I like that. But hopefully we had a little back and forth there. Of course, if you have any more questions or things you want to know about the Restoration Druid and how things are going to shape up at 8.2, just jump into the Dream Grove Discord channel. And you can, of course, probably just poke. I don't know who likes being messaged more. Torty,
Torty loves it.
Does he really?
It, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
He does.
Especially PMs.
Oh.
I'm just using an invisible mode so people don't see me online.
Oh no, that's too bad. I think we haven't talked about the Paladin enough yet. Oh, we had a pretty good dig earlier that Voulk had set up. Come on, we got there.
But can I talk about PMs? The worst thing that people do is just, can I ask a question? Just ask the question. Don't ask it. You can ask the question.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I'll literally wake up to a message saying, "Can I ask a question?" rather than someone asking the question and then I just answer it when I can or when I'm available. It's just that is a big peeve of mine as well, Todd.
So go join the the Dream Grove Discord, but I guess don't PM Torty. And if you guys have some closing shout outs or any remarks or any soapbox that you want to go for to close the show out here, Torty, I'll go back to you first. Do you have anything you want to, any wondrous bits of wisdom or anything you'd like to rant about, put a moratorium on? This is your time.
I'm actually going to shout out Zanzara and Jundar for making the Druid SimC APLs and the implementation. They enabled me DPS and more. That's all shout outs I'm going to give.
Druid SimC, he means Feral Affinity SimC.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Wait.
Yeah.
I just got 2 PMs asking, can I ask a question? Come on, guys.
They've done it. Voulk, how about you? Anything you want to put a moratorium on or any shout outs you want at the end of the show here?
All right, I'll go shout outs. I'm not going to be able to include everyone. I'll include my wonderful girlfriend Broccolis, and I will include everyone in Dream Grove, Peak of Serenity, and Hammer of Wrath. Closing remarks. I have been promising to put up part 3 of my Essence article for about a week. It is now live on Questionably Epic as of the 2nd.
As of right now, if I refresh the page.
Refresh the page.
Oh my goodness. It's there. It's right there. It's right there. Look, I'm going to hit read me.
Actually, I feel like I've been unfair to Connor now. Like everyone's going to be reading the article instead of listening to his closing remarks. So let him do that first, then go and read the article.
I've got no remarks really. I got one shout out. That's it.
Go for it, Konah. What do you got?
No, I just shout out some of my friends in the Gym Lads Discord. They know who they are. They help a lot with all the prep for WoW and stuff like that. They've been helping me with researching AP and how to get it efficiently and whatnot.
That's
good
us.
Lads. Yep.
But no one in Method though. You're not gonna shout out the boss man. Nothing to Scott. No. Thank you for letting you have 3 hours away from the grind.
No. Shout out to all the healer team in Method. They're all good guys,
including Josh.
Including Josh. Yeah, Josh. Josh is Biss. We like Josh.
No, I'm just kidding. Well, that's going to do it then. I don't think we have anything else to go on. Now, there was a bunch of questions came up in chat about what the next shows coming up are. But again, we have Shadow Priest and then the Wowhead special, and then we'll go from there. It's going to take like the whole breadth of this year to get through all the other specs. But I'm going to hit this little button over here. Hold on. I have the wrong... I need the outro music. I can't end the show without the outro music, and this is the wrong one. Doot. Live technical difficulties here. Where did I... Uh-oh. Wait. Everything is moved around. This is awkward. Where the heck is it? I don't even have it? No way. Well, this is weird. Everyone's looking at my face. This is Where did it go? I just...
Should I sing a little song?
Should you sing a little song? I mean, you could... I guess you could
No,
try.
I can't sing. We could all just make a tune.
Hold on. I think we found it, but I don't know how loud it's going to be. Please don't. Please. Okay, it's okay. It's still loud. Oh my goodness. Everything is broken. Not everything is broken. Everything else ran just fine. Except this last little bit, because I don't know where it's... Is it still playing? It's still playing. That's going to do it. That's going to be it. My name's Adam K.A.K. Bay, and I lose part of my show layout because this just didn't exist on the layout here. Yeah. But that's going to do it for today. Again, next week, Shadow Priest. Week after, 8.2 special about stuff being sorted out, and we'll figure everything out, and we'll have some theory crafters and guide writers and mathy heads on here for the show to sort of help out and figure out what's going on with 8.2. You want a little primer for that. And then back around here, Konah. You can go follow him over on Twitch at Konah with an extra H. Just one extra H, Konah.
I couldn't get the singular H on Twitch. It's already taken, so there's a double H. Twice the fun. I stream very rarely, but I stream during progress and intermittently between. So go over and enjoy my streams, I guess.
Sounds good to me. And then there's Voulk. You can follow him over on Twitter at QE_wow. That is questionably epic, of course. If you haven't seen that, oops, there we go. Seen that plugged during the show. Do you have anyone else that works on questionably epic with you, sir? Or is it everything just like your little love child?
It's definitely my love child. I've got Brock does the raid guides for the site, and then the other stuff is. But I mean, a lot of it is built off a whole bunch of people doing a whole bunch of work that makes it easy for me, like all the theory crafters for the different.
Okay. Sounds awesome, sir. Well, thank you for your time on the show again. I'm sure we'll talk soon. And keep fighting the good fight against discipline priests everywhere. And then last up, Torty. Thank you for sitting down with us again today. And apparently just DPSing when you should be healing. Is that what I've gathered?
Yep. And not DPSing when it's needed as well.
Oh,
apparently.
I mean, what were you saying you should change your Twitter handle to? Because it's just Torty_healing. But what should that actually be?
Torty_complaints about disc. It's actually half my Twitter feed probably just complaining about disc priest.
Well, you can go follow Torty on Twitter if you want to have him complain about discipline priest. So you can join in, I guess. Join into the conversation.
Yeah. Oh, it was a few tweets about Holy Paladins as well lately.
Oh, okay. At least a few.
Yeah. You can also check my expansion tier rankings. They're pretty good.
Uh-oh. I'm not bringing that up on the show. Are they pretty good, or?
Yeah, you will love them.
I'm gonna click on it. Uh-oh. Wait a minute. That goes against what? You can go look at it. Go look at it yourself. But that's gonna do it for me. Thank you very much for tuning in. Sorry for the hiccup at the end there. Everything's sort of breaking as I move everything around into the new build and stuff like that, so I've been backing up stuff. This is an old version of the outro song. Hopefully it sounds okay, because I really can't hear it. But that's that. Again, if you missed the show, the YouTube Vaad will be up. We're usually at 24 hours after the live show goes up, so if you're watching on YouTube right now, then you're already here. And then the audio-only versions go up at a day after that. But 8.2 is on the horizon, and we'll keep the show coverage. And then when we go in the future with more healers, we'll sort of have banter about other healers in there as well. That's how the shows will work. But that's it for me. Thank you very much for being here and tuning in. And good luck farming all your different essences, even though they're literally a reward-based system now. When's the last time you could actually just do something in World of Warcraft and not pull down a casino slot machine? Everything now is just you can get the essence. So go for it. And we'll see you all here next week. All right, man. Bye. Oh, my Torty can't wave. Wave for Torty.
I'm waving.
He's waving? Is he? Yeah. Okay.